Frank's Red Hot is the perfect blend of flavor and heat, so you can use an entire bottle to make recipes like buffalo chicken dip or buffalo nachos, or even things that don't start with buffalo. Frank's Red Hot, I put that on everything.
Hey, Craig.
Hey, Jeff.
Howdy.
Hey, just before we get started, I want to say a couple things. One, if I still sound like shit and I cough in the middle of this, I know that's very triggering right now, but I got tested for COVID today, and it was negative.
Woo!
So don't worry about me. I'm going to get tested tomorrow again, too, as one should. But I, as far as the test that I got today is concerned, I do not have COVID. I just have a sore throat. And so, sorry if I still sound like shit. Please don't worry about me. Second of all, before we get started, by the way, this is Podcast Versus Everyone. I'm Craig Powers. With me is Jeff Nusser.
That's
and
me.
This is the Utah preview. But one thing I wanted to say before we get started, some of you may already know, if you're big Coug Center followers, I am having a charity raffle right now. So basically, I can't go to the October 9th homecoming game because my future brother-in-law is getting married. I get to stay in a tree house in Issaquah. It's going to be very nice. And you know, as much as I hate fall weddings, I do like them, and I want to see them get married. And my daughter's a flower girl, and my fiance is the best person. So I get to go. In lieu of going to the football game, in lieu of selling my tickets and canceling my hotel, I am giving my hotel reservation, paying for your hotel reservation. I am giving you my tickets and giving you my parking pass to a winner who will be chosen at random from a group of people who donate to the WSU fund of their choice. You can go on WSU's online giving page, and there's dozens of things. You could donate to your old school, like I could donate to the School of History if I wanted to, or you could donate to the Crimson Opportunity Fund, which is for low-income students, or you could donate to I've seen a lot of the Student Emergency Fund, which helps students who are impacted by COVID-19. So what you can do is every $10 you donate gets you a entry, and if you have a company that does gift match, if you can prove that to me, I will give you credit for that as well. So your $10 could be $20, 2 entries. So yeah, just donate, and then you have every $10 you get a chance, and then I'll enter your name into a spreadsheet. I'll do a random number generator, and whoever lands on that number in the spreadsheet will win. And so far, we're almost $400 in after a day, and I'm really excited about that. But as you know, this package is worth more than that. So I would love to get a lot more donations. We have till 11:59 p.m. on October 3rd. So please donate to whatever WSU fund means the most to you, and send me a screenshot. DM me on Twitter. My DMs are open at the Craig Powers, or send it to our podcast email account, podcast.vs.everyone@gmail.com. And I'd love to get your donations. If you can't go yourself, you want to try to win it for a friend, feel free to do that too. I already have a couple people doing that. So
that is awesome. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do to sweeten the pot just a little bit. So at some point on Friday on Twitter, I will announce that I will match up to $50 for people, for whoever, for like the next like $50 worth of entries. So
Awesome.
if it is one person who buys $50 worth of entries, then I will match that $50. And if it's 5 different people at $10 a piece, then I will match 5 different people for $10 a piece, but up to $50. So I'll do that on Friday. So when you listen to this, you might want to check my Twitter, because I'll announce it on Twitter at some point on Friday. The next $50 worth I will match.
Very cool, Jeff. Thank you for that. And yeah, just help out whatever, fund you want. And one thing that's been cool so far, not one person has went for the calf. So good for all y'all. Branching out, donating to other things.
Yeah.
You could donate to the calf if you want to. I will accept that. That is a scholarship fund. I'm totally fine with that. Let's get into. So again, if you donate, send me a screen grab. You can X out all your information except for the donation. I don't need to see anything else unless you win. Then of course I need your name and your email address and probably your phone number for transferring the tickets. But we'll burn that bridge when we get there. Send me a DM at the Craig Powers, or send us an email with a screen grab at podcastvseveryone@gmail.com. Okay. All right. Enough of that. Let's get into this preview that we're super prepared for.
Yeah. Totally prepared.
I forgot it was Thursday. I texted you at 6, and I was like, I have not written my preview, so that's coming out on Friday, folks. But you know what? I recently discovered today on cfbgraphs.com, cfb-graphs.com, that they have success rate. All I had to do was click a little arrow down, user error, and now I know they have success rate, which I love. They have field position, all these good fun things. So I'm excited. I feel like I can do a better preview on the fly right now than I've even done so far. So let's get into it, Jeff, with our offense versus their defense. But let's figure out who the hell is going to be throwing the ball for our offense.
Well, who knows? I mean, I don't know. I mean, like I wrote my morning link post, my little hot Cougar action this morning. And Rolovich is talking about, okay, well, Delora is still, kind of touch and go. I'd be surprised if Delora plays. I guess we can probably say that. If he wasn't practicing by midweek, I would say that does not bode well for his prospects to play. So I'd be surprised if he plays. Although who knows? Maybe he'll talk himself into the game and he'll come in if the start doesn't look too great. So I think it's probably going to be Garantano or Cooper. Who ends up starting? I honestly have no idea. I mean, they're splitting reps right now. I mean, what the fuck does that mean? Because Delora and Garantano split reps, and somehow he settled on Garantano. So when he was clearly not the better quarterback. So I don't know that any of it makes any sense or means anything. I think ultimately, Rolovich is going to do what he wants. I think honestly, if you were like, placing some kind of prop bet on an over-under of the number of quarterbacks to play on Saturday, if the over-under was like 1.5, I think I'd probably take the over, just because he has a tendency to, as we know now, kind of yo-yo guys, and just because somebody starts doesn't mean they're going to finish, and so all of those things together do not give me confidence that, I don't know, there's a plan for any of it, I guess.
Yeah. So who knows? So maybe we'll see Cam and Cooper time for the first start ever.
I think he'll probably play. I don't know if he'll start. I would guess they're leaning towards Garantano.
Yeah, I guess because that's who they picked at the start of the season.
Yeah,
so if he's healthy, then why would they not have him? And Garantano, Garantano and Gabalis and Ward are the three guys that Rolovich selected, and then he obviously wanted Delora at Hawaii, but that was a Leach recruit, and Cameron was a Leach recruit, so it's not surprising that he maybe had the preference towards, although he showed the preference towards Delora last year, whatever. So who knows?
Who knows?
Either way, I think probably Cameron or Garantano, the offense is not as well off as it would be with a healthy Delora, especially with Delora's playmaking ability outside of the pocket. But maybe we actually have not seen much of either of them in game, so maybe they'll surprise us. I don't know. But I can tell you that Utah still has a pretty damn good defense, particularly a pretty damn good pass defense. They are 9th in EPA per pass. We talked about that last week. It's a measure of explosion. Overall, their offensive success rate allowed is in the middle, about 53rd. They allow successful plays on 40% of the opponents. So, that's fine, but what they're doing is limiting explosive plays. And you'll see that, San Diego State had a really low yards per pass. BYU had a really low yards per pass. I'm not really looking at the Weber State stuff. That's their one win. But in either of those games, it looks bad giving up 33 points to San Diego State, but 9 of those points were in overtime, and 7 of those points were on a kickoff return for a touchdown. So actually the defense in regular time only gave up, 17 points. So their defense has been pretty good as always, and as typical, they're very good against the pass. So how we feeling? Our offense against a defense that shuts down the pass has been not great against the run, particularly explosively. They're 70th in EPA per rush. We know that WSU is still going to throw the ball quite a bit. They're still probably running, 60% passes, even if it might behoove them to run more. Do you think maybe with a different quarterback, do we see Max and Dion get more carries this game, Jeff?
Maybe. That's some high level analysis here. I mean, maybe. I don't know. I guess the one thing I would say is that right now I don't know what to think about anything as it relates to this team, and I know that doesn't make for very compelling,
particularly offensively.
Yeah, that doesn't make for a very compelling preview podcast, right? Because we are supposed to be like, I'm looking into my crystal ball, and this is what I am seeing. I am seeing us really, pounding the run. I mean, just I don't know. I have no idea what Rolovich and his, other, co-coordinator guys. I have no idea what they are thinking. I have no idea what they think is going to be effective. And even if we think we know what's going to be effective early, who knows about the second half, right? Because we're apparently a 30-minute football team. So,
as we saw against Utah last year.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I would hope, that if Delora is not the quarterback, we'd be trying to, scheme up something, run wise, and maybe leaning on that a little more heavily. But, we also haven't seen that yet. We didn't really even see it against Utah State. Now, some of that was effectiveness, right? Just not real successful, not real effective running the ball. But if we're being honest, even against USC, we really only had about a few drives of effective running the ball, and then it was pretty much nothing after that. And I know people are still, complaining about Borghi not getting enough touches, McIntosh not getting enough touches. I mean, that's all well and good, but if you're not moving the ball on the ground, then that's just not a place where you want to keep pounding your head. If you're going to keep pounding your head, you're better off trying to keep pounding your head in the passing game rather than, in the running game, because the upside of the running game is so small, right? A pass has the potential to be a big play, pretty much anytime you throw one, the running play, yes, Borgie can break one off, but it's not quite the same. So, I don't know. I tend to think no. I tend to think that they probably won't lean on it, even, against USC when it was real successful. It's not like they were just running. So, I think probably they'll pass because that's what they do. And, if it's Garantano or Cooper, I think we've seen what they can do, and it's not good.
Well, yeah, and I think it seems like Utah's run defense is kind of feast or famine. They have 17 tackles for loss on runs this season through 3 games, which is pretty good. And then but only 4 sacks, so they haven't gotten a lot of pressure on the pass, but they still, as they typically do, defend really well in the back end. So they give up some big plays in the run, but overall they kind of mitigate it by tackling in the backfield, the running backs. So it's kind of a feast or famine thing, and I think we saw against Utah State. If they have a couple unsuccessful runs, they abandon that real quick.
Yep.
And so I could see that happening early. If Max gets tackled for a no gain, 1 yard loss, whatever, they're going to say no, we got to throw the ball because we're not going to be able to bust through this line.
Yeah.
So that's a little concerning, obviously. Overall, it's tough to have confidence in the offense coming out and playing well because they really haven't done that against FBS competition this year. They didn't play that well against Utah State, and they didn't play against USC, a better competitor. They had 3 or 4 good drives, and then it was just crap. Obviously, once Delora went out, and guess what? Delora's probably not playing. So it's going to be tough sledding for WSU offensively, I think.
Yep.
I am not feeling good about this. Like I especially since our attack is primarily predicated on downfield strikes, and Utah is very good at shutting that down.
Yep. Yeah.
And so, yep.
Until I don't know, man. Until I see it, I'm not sure. I'm not sure I believe it at this point. I don't know. Like I'll be honest. I still have maybe a little bit of hope for Garantano, just because the talent's got to be in there somewhere. It has to be.
We got 2 4-star quarterbacks sitting there. One of them could start, and we're like, oh man, I don't know about either of these guys.
It's so true. So I don't know. Cooper, he looked okay in a garbage time drive until he did what he does, which is throw an interception. So
yep.
I don't know, man. It's going to take one of those guys playing a lot better than I think anybody expects for things to go well. And I'm not, like you, I'm not quite feeling that. I'm not real confident that this particular coaching staff is going to be able to coax that out of one of these guys.
Yeah. So let's switch over to Utah's offense against the WSU defense. So Utah offensively has been pretty bad. That is why they are 1-2. They are not explosive by any stretch of the imagination. 106th in EPA per play, over in the 100s in both EPA per rush, EPA per pass. They're not explosive in any way. They're also not consistent. They're not. They don't move the chains. They are 95th in success rate, successful on just 37% of attempts. So that's a success rate is just a play that keeps you on schedule. So 5 yards on first down, getting to like 2nd and 3, getting to a first down on 3rd down, getting a first down on 4th down. Those are successful plays. So they get those 37% of the time. WSU, on the other hand, just to put some numbers on it, they're 88. They're 95th. They're also 95th in success rate allowed, 45%. They have been pretty good preventing big plays in the running game, 38th in EPA per rush, very bad, anyone with eyes could see this, very bad at preventing big plays in the passing game. EPA per pass, 113th nationally. Yikes. Yikes.
Yeah,
but bad. Also, so basically they've been pretty decent against the run, pretty bad overall, pretty much what we would have expected. So kind of high, even though Utah's offense has been looking pretty bad, they have a quarterback change. And they were feeling pretty good about that, enough where their senior quarterback left the program.
Yeah.
And
not just any senior quarterback. The senior quarterback who literally just transferred in. Played 2 games and is now transferring out.
So he lost his job.
It's crazy.
To a guy who has 4 touchdowns, no picks, but he's averaging 5 yards an attempt.
Yeah.
So he's not setting the world on fire either.
To put that in context, because a lot of times people don't know what the context is there. You need your quarterback to be over 7. That's where,
which Brewer wasn't either. He's about 6.4.
So that's where you need to be sort of bare minimum is over 7. In any kind of conventional offense, air raid sometimes you could get a little lowish because the volume was so high, right? And you'd be throwing a lot. Sometimes you'd throw a lot of short passes, a lot of horizontal passes. But in any conventional offense, especially, by the way, Utah's offense is designed to be actually the opposite of that. They are trying to limit their throw. They're trying to basically run a Seahawks offense, right? They are. Yeah. It's run the ball, it's play action, hit a big play, things like that. I mean, they'd probably want their quarterback to be somewhere up around 8 or 9 yards per attempt, and they are definitely not getting that right now.
But one thing that Cameron Rising did do that Brewer hasn't been doing is pick up yards on the ground. He had 46 yards rushing on 5 attempts against San Diego State. So that's probably part of it. Like you said, they want to move the ball on the ground. They'll definitely run some zone read. It's interesting. I don't expect their passing game to be any more explosive with Rising, although WSU's defense might make him look more explosive.
The dreaded running quarterback.
They've made everyone look explosive in the passing game, so it's kind of hard to see the WSU defense holding down anyone. But if they can, this is the team to do that. But the other side of it is they can run the ball. They can run the ball well. They're not explosive. And they're not, successful, but they still have a bunch of guys. By the advanced metrics, they're not successful, but they have 2 guys over 6.5 yards a carry. Now, maybe a lot of that was against Weber State, to be honest. I'd have to look at their game logs, but no, not really. Micah Bernard, 12 carries for 146 against BYU. Actually, probably what's hurting him, only 17 for 47 against San Diego State. So that ain't good. So he's kind of living off 1. But so he's their freshman back. They got Tavion Thomas. So he is looking at he barely played against BYU and San Diego State. So so it's looking like I told you we were very prepared. Looking like Micah Bernard's going to be the guy. And he had a big game against BYU, had a bad game against San Diego State. Do you think WSU's rush defense is any better than either of those teams?
No.
No. So we'll see. Although, WSU had its moments in run defense. I feel like USC, it was really the pass game that screwed them.
Yes.
I think that's probably been the case for every game. Their rush defense has been pretty solid.
Yeah.
That's where you have some hope is if Utah wants to run the ball, right? And so if they can, get them out, get them in second and longs, third and longs, force Cameron Rising to throw the ball downfield a little more, and then hope and pray that he doesn't get out of the pocket and run for the first down.
Yeah.
Then that's their shot. If they can get them into third and longs, even though I don't think they've been very good in those, but you always want to be in that over 3rd and 4, 3rd and 3, 3rd and 2. So that's if you're watching the game and you're seeing WSU get them to a 2nd and 8, get them to a 2nd and 9, then you should feel better about where the defense is headed, and maybe they can keep the score low enough where WSU maybe could make a few big plays to hang around.
I think that's all true, and I also think that we could be, I don't know, maybe this is getting into the my prediction area. We're a little teasing my prediction, but a lot of what happened last year was just getting tired and getting leaned on, and then just kind of getting run over. And I do, again, I look at our line and I look at our tackles, and they are Mountain West sized. And at some point that becomes difficult.
Well, Utah, used to be a Mountain West team.
That is true. They are not anymore, in case you hadn't heard. I don't know. Our tackles, like I said, they're smallish. And I just feel like at some point they just kind of wear down, and they can't quite hold up at the point of attack the way they did, earlier in a game. And I don't know, man, I struggle to think that, that they are going to be able to hold up for very long, if they are going to be able to hold up at all. Again, and so much of this is just like our general confidence in the coaching staff is so low, right? Like just the idea maybe they can hold up for a little while.
Yeah, I say things like, if early on they're doing this, you should feel good. It's like, I shouldn't have said that, because I think we should learn by now.
Right. I mean, nothing that they could do early would make you feel good.
Unless they're up by 39 points at halftime.
They're up by 39 points at halftime. We're okay. So maybe we're
in for a wild ride in the second half, but we're probably fine.
Maybe we can get there. I don't know. It's hard to have much confidence. I do feel like, I don't know, man. Well,
the defense really, even going back to Leach's final year, the WSU defense has not stopped anyone for a long time.
No, that is true. I do feel like, I don't know, I saw a lot of what I thought were really good signs on Saturday. I know that's sort of counterintuitive when you give up 45 points. But there was so much of just USC's athletes winning out. I mean, we talk about how much we love Jalen Watson, and Jalen Watson has, taken a lot of stick for what happened in that game. Kind of getting beat up pretty good at times by Drake London. Drake London is going to do that to a lot of people.
Also, okay, London had 170 yards.
Yes.
It took him 18 targets to get there.
Yes. I mean, they just threw to him over and over and over. And they weren't all on Jalen Watson either.
No, they were not.
They were moving him all over the place, trying to get him matched up, trying to get him open.
18 is, by the way, an absurd amount of targets for one wide receiver in a game.
Yes. Yes. It's hard to state how many that is. I mean, your typical go-to receiver might get half that in a game. So, yeah, it definitely was out of the ordinary. They definitely were just throwing it to him a lot. He made some great plays. And, in fact, some of the catches he made against Watson were just it's not like Watson got abused or something. He was kind of there. He just, London's just really, really good. I mean, that's a guy who's, going to play in the NFL. He's huge and physical. And so, yeah, I mean, he's, that's a tough assignment. There were things that I saw in the pass defense that I thought were good signs. I thought they were, part of it was being pretty good for a half. And then of course they, completely fall apart. So, I don't know. Is that Graham Harrell figuring something out? Is that just throw to Drake London 100 times and you'll be fine? I don't know. If there's a game, and I can't even believe I'm saying this, but if there's a game in which the pass defense might actually sort of reward what I think I'm seeing, this might be it. And then, excited for Andrew Edson. Like that's not a guy that I would have ever, said, oh yeah, this is a guy I expect to break out as a true freshman. Kind of an under-recruited guy, came from a pretty decent-sized program in Washington, Mount Si High School, but, was just middling 3-star kid, didn't have any big offers, at least that were reported, because he committed really early. So you never really know, like, sometimes that stuff is, well, he committed early and he's firm in his commitment, so the other stuff never gets reported. But to have him come in and be pretty good, especially when we were kind of sold the Brennan Jackson and Ron Stone hype train, and those guys have just frankly not delivered at all on that. The Edson stuff is pretty exciting too. So I don't know, man. I got a sneaking suspicion that the defense may do better than we think, at least in the passing game. But I don't know. Probably famous last words, I'm sure. I'm trying, man. I'm trying.
Well,
trying to be
I
positive.
Really I would hope they look better against Utah's offense than they did against USC's.
Yes, I also would hope so.
I would hope they look more like they did against Utah State, particularly early on. And so as we move to predictions, this is what I want to do this time. I'm changing it up, Jeff.
Yeah.
I want us to pick a halftime score and then a final score.
Okay. All right.
All right, so give me your halftime score, and then I'll do my halftime score, and then we'll do the final scores. Okay.
Halftime score, 10-10. Tie game, 10-10.
Okay. All right, I'll go halftime score. Cougs 13, Utah 7.
Okay.
All right, now Jeff, give me your final score.
27-10.
Utah.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, you assumed right. So Utah outscores them 17-0 in the second half. Low scoring game, but wins comfortably and covers. And because the Cougs are allergic to covering, so.
Yeah. So I'll go. What's the line?
Depending on where you're at, it's at 14, 15, somewhere in there.
Yeah. So I'll go. So I said 13-7. So the Cougs get a field goal in the second half, and then it ends up 31-16 Utah.
They get outscored 21-3 in the second half.
24-3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
We're broken, man.
We are totally broken. That's it.
Yeah, I'm not saying the team. I'm saying Jeff and I are broken.
That's the shit I was talking about in my Monday column. My Monday column that got published Tuesday night, which is just like, man, I mean, just all faith is gone.
Just a few comments on that one. Just a couple.
People seem to engage with that, which I am not a professional clickbaiter, so it's not like that's what I was going for. But I also figured people would. Have some thoughts about whether our head football coach should continue to be employed after this year. So, but yeah, I samesies. I just am like, I don't know, man. It's hard to have any faith in anything good happening. I mean, I will watch just like you will watch, and we will hope.
Yeah, let's go daytime.
Yeah,
game.
I mean, we'll hope that something cool happens, but
there's Swansea Day. I'll head over to E9 after that.
Yeah.
Drink some fancy Cantillon beer. So Jeff 27-10, me, Craig 31-16. We're this is probably some of the least optimistic predictions we've given.
Yes. We are beaten down.
So sorry everyone. But hey, I feel like we did a good job on this analysis pretty much on the fly.
Yes.
Good job, us.
Yeah.
You're welcome, podcast listeners. We're the most prepared podcast you listen to about the Cougs.
Yes.
Probably not. If you want to follow us at the Craig Powers on Twitter is me, Craig W. Powers on Instagram, and Jeff is at Pod VS Everyone. We'll probably be coming hot and heavy with some takes because this is my first time. I'm just going to be sitting on my ass and watching the game in my couch.
Hell yeah!
So I'm excited about that. And yeah, so again, I got my fundraiser going for the charity raffle. If you donate to a WSU fund every $10, you can have a chance to win tickets, parking, and hotel to the October 9th homecoming game. And yeah, send me your receipts at the Craig Powers on Twitter. Or if you have questions, comments, or receipts, our email podcastvseveryone@gmail.com. All right, go Cougs, Jeff.
Go Cougs, Craig. Black Lives Matter.
Black Lives Matter.
Yeah,
and
get fucking vaccinated.